Well, and there we are, folks. My camera just kind of glitched there a little bit, but here we are. Welcome to another Ask Us Anything call here with LifterLMS. I am Kurt Von Onen. I'll be here for the next, hour or so, talking about all things LifterLMS. Emily may be joining us here shortly, and that would be awesome. Because I love to spend time with her, and she's really good at the screen shares and helping me answer some of the questions that come along. Now, we do have a process. We say that that people can ask questions in advance. So if you ask questions in advance of the call, I've got a fancy spreadsheet here that gives me some of those questions. So newsflash, I do have some questions that we can cover in the show, but on the other side of the coin, you can also ask your questions live in the chat. So if you would, jump on into the chat, let us know who you are, where you're from. Maybe you're already a LifterLMS user, maybe you're new to the deal, but we can go ahead and then leave that run as a ticker down at the bottom for a little bit. There is a ticker I want to slam in here for you real quick, though, and I do this at the beginning of the shows. And I try to make sure I remember to do it at the end of the show as well. But you can get a 55% off coupon for LifterLMS simply by going to lifterlms.com /AMA-gift. So that's lifterlms.com /AMA-gift. AMA would be Ask Me Anything. So AMA-gift. All right. All of that said, we've got some comments coming in, and we're coming in hot with questions already. Rebecca says, I'm not going to tell you where I'm from. I'm just going to go right to the question. It says, can I link SkyPilot to my current website for online learning? It's kind of a mixed question, to be honest with you, Rebecca. I want to make sure I understand correctly. So what my thinking here is you are saying, I've already got a website. It's not LifterLMS. Maybe it's LearnPress. Maybe it's LearnDash. Maybe it's WP Courses. Is it WP Course or is it Courses WP? Can't remember. There's a ton of learning management systems out there. And so if it is a WordPress website and you want to run SkyPilot as a theme, you can absolutely add the theme to your website. So what a lot of people don't recognize is when you go to LifterLMS and you look at the pricing page, and you know what, for giggles, I think I'll pull up the pricing page right now. I haven't done this in a long time. Let's go into a shared screen. Let's go right to that pricing page and let's take a look at what we've got here. Let me double check to make sure I'm seeing that. Okay, perfect. All right. And, we've got bundles. So we've got the Infinity bundle, right? To me, that is like I'm on a lifetime Infinity deal. I can make as many of these websites as I want, and I have access to all of the advanced add-ons that LifterLMS has. Then there's the Universe bundle, the Earth bundle, and the Free Core plugin. The Free Core plugin, I'm going to give you another news flash. That's how I got started with LifterLMS. I used to be the training manager at a really large, recognized corporate entity. And in that corporate entity, they were paying multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to run a learning management system. Now, that learning management system went through a SaaS provider. That SaaS came from Europe. So getting support, getting a hold of people that spoke English that I understood, some of it was very difficult for me to be the American representation for that part of the corporation that did the learning. Got to be really, I got to share with you how this worked. It was a global corporation, and I worked for the American subsidiary. So the global corporation made the decision on where the learning platform was going to be, and it was super expensive, and it didn't really fit my needs to what I needed to teach the American people at this corporation. To give you a little more guideline, in other parts of the world, certain jobs require a certification through the government. It requires a certain what we would call in the States, when you become an apprentice and then a journeyman. And then, so like all of these recorded work events and growth to get there. And there are certain jobs in America where that just doesn't exist, where you go down to, you know, Lowe's and you buy yourself a toolbox and a toolbox starter kit. And you could say, now I'm this. It sounds crazy, but that is true. You could roll your toolbox into a lot of different jobs here in the United States without an oversight certification process. Now, because of that, and I know this seems like a long answer, but I want to get to the answer. So, because of that, I had to create training for America that really covered the basics and the fundamentals, things that people in Germany and Italy and Spain and England, they already got that training somewhere else. But in America, there was no assurance that that training had been given somewhere along the line. So I had to create a kind of a stopgap use of a learning management system to make something happen. So I used the free version of LifterLMS. It was the best way to go. It was, it was, I wasn't selling the courses. I was assigning the courses to people in the field in America to make sure they understood the fundamentals and basics of what we were working with before they jumped into the LMS that was sponsored by the major corporation. So it was like a supplemental learning platform. And before you jump all over me and say, well, why didn't you just make supplemental learning content inside their platform? Because the corporation had a budget, and that budget was already starting to swell. And that learning platform was very, very expensive. And when I said, hey, can we just add like a list or a segment of people that's for America and give them access to a different course within that platform? I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but that multi-six-figure investment a year did not provide out of the box abilities to do those kinds of things, even though we know that we could do that in LifterLMS and the free core plugin right out of the box. So that's what led me down this path with Lifter. That was a decade ago. And now look, now I run the Infinity Bundle. I make learning platforms for other companies and corporations. And I also do these Ask Me Anything calls. The original question, if we go back to the original question, it was, hey, can I link SkyPilot to my current website for online training? Yes. So here's where we go. If we take a look at how Lifter is, and that's how I got into this conversation, we have the free core plugin, then you have the Earth Bundle. Well, the Earth Bundle adds some things. Adds the add-on for Stripe and PayPal and WooCommerce, okay? And then we go to the next sign, right? Universe Bundle, the SkyPilot theme, 4 e-commerce add-ons, email marketing and CRM add-ons, form integration add-ons. The thing is when you have LifterLMS, sometimes it can seem weird when you first get into it because you have the free core plugin, and then in your plugins listing, you have all these things that just kind of stack up inside your plugins list. But that's what makes LifterLMS so flexible for use case. Like if you buy the Infinity Bundle, you have access to all the stuff. Well, you don't just install all the stuff on every website. You only install the tools that fit the use case for the client that you're working with. So if we go down and we scroll down a little bit on the pricing page, you're going to see how things are broken out separately. So what's interesting is core features, unlimited courses, right? So this is everything. And then we get into premium features, and then we get into Stripe, and then we get into email, and then we get into design. And here's where we see SkyPilot. Okay. If we go up into, let's see, pricing. I was looking for the drop down for add-on software. Here we go. Features, solutions, companies, agencies. I'm getting lost in my own dang thing. Let's just look up SkyPilot here. SkyPilot. You're going to see in the list here, it's going to say SkyPilot LifterLMS buy online. And here you see that you can buy it $149 a year. So this would be a premium theme that's focused on full site editing in WordPress that you can add to your WordPress website. Can you use it even though you don't have LifterLMS installed? Absolutely, because it's a theme, and that theme would apply itself, for the global styling and all that stuff to the website. So then am I on the right? I am on the right tab. So yes, the answer is yes. The details to the answer. If you are talking about some SaaS platform, like, you're on Udemy or Podia or something like that. And you're like, can I link the Sky Pilot theme, to a Podia or to a Kajabi or something? Well, that answer is going to be no, right? Because it's a WordPress theme. So as long as your site is in WordPress and you want to move over to the WordPress theme of Sky Pilot and install that and use that, absolutely. Now, there's another tool that's out there. Speaking of design, I got to slow down, drink my coffee, and relax. There's another design tool that we have that's called Aircraft. And Aircraft is a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick search for Aircraft. We call Aircraft a page builder. So I'm going to pull up Aircraft, show you this. Aircraft to me is really pretty cool because, again, $149 a year, but it simplifies the design process, especially if you're in Sky Pilot, right? So especially if you're in Sky Pilot, branded very much like Sky Pilot screens are going to be simplified design elements. They're going to be in your patterns library inside, where you add elements to pages. And so you can add blocks or you can add patterns. So patterns is like a combination of blocks that are consistent, and you can add them in multiple places throughout the site, and it helps you design the site really, really quickly. So if these are the types of elements or the type of look and feel that you're seeing in these Sky Pilot examples, and you're like, hey, I want to just plug and play and build these things quickly, like here's a call to action segment. Here is, the team segment. You can get these segments or these patterns in the Aircraft builder, and that'll really help speed up your design and get you going pretty quickly. You might be seeing me bounce around here in the LifterLMS pages. I use the search quite a bit. If we go back and we type in Aircraft again, you'll see that I am on the buy online link. But if you wanted more details about working with Aircraft, you would click Getting Started with Aircraft. And then this gives you our resource and our knowledge docs that really drives down, what are you building? How are you using the tools? How are you placing things where you want them to be? And then how do you edit or change the appearance of those elements once you put them in place? So it's really good to kind of look at that and know how we're getting started and what we're doing there. So hopefully we see something there that we like. I'm going to go ahead and head back to the main screen. I'm going to throw this out again. I'm going to say, hey, where are we? Here we go, right there. And I'm going to take this ticker off, and feel free to ask your questions in chat. Rebecca, if you're still live with us, I hope that you had the patience to wait for me to really answer that. Keep in mind, when I see questions come in, not only do I want to answer the question for the person that submitted the question, but I want to make sure that I answer the question fully enough so that people that watch the replay that didn't ask the question but have similar thoughts get a full answer, to make sure that we get into something there. And so Rebecca says, I'm WordPress theme Astra for my organization, and I want to link Sky Pilot as an online learning section. Okay. That's a little different, Rebecca. So typically, a WordPress site has a theme. Now, I want to give you kind of a kudos, pat on the back, because Astra's phenomenal. I have Astra Pro on probably 30 or 40 different websites. So big fan of Astra and Astra Pro. I think that's made by Braintree or something like that. I use Astra Pro. I use Spectra. They have a thing called ZipWP that they connect to for some AI tools in building out templated websites. I think that works really, really well. My point being, there's a few like top tier themes that continually come across our radar that we have no problem in saying, hey, that's a quality theme. Go with that. Cadence is one. Cadence and Cadence Pro and Cadence Blocks and that whole Cadence suite is really pretty amazing. When you start talking about block editing and stuff like that. And then, or I should say using Gutenberg. And then On the other side is Astra. Astra's phenomenal with their whole suite of tools that work well. And then of course our Sky Pilot. Our Sky Pilot is obviously something that we would recommend. Now, if you're talking about leaving the main part of the website in Astra and then only affecting the pages of the LMS with Sky Pilot, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to do that unless you create the LMS in a subdomain of the site, or like one of those folders, right? Like a forward slash in the URL. So if you were like abc.com, yeah, abc123, right? So abc123.com. If abc123.com is on Astra and you want to use SkyPilot for the learning portions of your web presentation, I want to say it clearly, then it would be something like lms.abc123.com, or it would be abc123.com /LMS. And then your architecture would be something like there would be two completely different managed website instances, but connected to that same root URL. You can very much do that. A lot of people separate their LMS from their core site. A lot of people. I used to do that in the beginning. So when I first started working with LifterLMS, I thought it was important to have marketing and contact material on one site, learning material on another site, and I tried to compartmentalize things a lot. And then what I found over time was managing those sites as two different entities sometimes came with more babysitting and more homework than I wanted to do. So then I had to start taking a look at like, is it traffic? Like, what was my concern? Why did I want to separate them? Right? Because there's use cases where some people and corporations are going to say, no, we definitely want to keep that separate. But in most cases, I found that if I just put everything together in one instance, I was fine. I was really fine. And there's a lot that you can do with the styling. You could make, so if you think about what a plugin does, it creates custom post types. So memberships, courses, and lessons are like custom post types within your site after you install LifterLMS. So if you wanted to use some of the advanced features of like Astra Pro and create separate templates for those dynamically generated pages, you could do that, right? So you could have your site look one way for marketing and then look a different way for LifterLMS content, but still be using the same theme. And like I say, since I already know that you're using, a top tier theme, I think that it would be a really good way for you to go. Just stick with the one theme, one site, and build that out. If your use case says we want the LMS completely separate from our main website, well, then look at the subdomain example. And then, yeah, absolutely. You could put SkyPilot into that subdomain and then have Astra on the main site and SkyPilot on the subdomain. I seem to have talked myself into a circle there. Sorry about that, Rebecca. Medical Educators Consortium. Wow. All right. That's a heck of a name you got there. So I work for a company that wanted to make a pre-test and a post-test. The idea is that the system would be able to compare the pre-test answers with the post-test to give a final result. Not going to lie, I hear this one a lot. I'm going to go ahead and open up a demo site here. And I think I'll take it over to the home page and then get you guys kind of up to speed on what I think we're going to do here. Okay. And I want to be clear. This is WordPress. There are 17 different ways to do everything. Okay. So if we jump into, let me see here. I want to go here. I want to click this. This is why having Emily on the call is awesome for me, because Emily's really good at navigating and bouncing around and moving things around while I'm doing the talking and looking at chat. But let's jump in here. So Medical Educator Consortium. Buckle up. I'm going to go through a demonstration here. And please know if I go too fast or if I lose you, you can always watch the replay on our Facebook page or on YouTube. So let's jump in. I'm going to take the question down. I'm going to move the banner so that you guys can see more of the screen. And let's open this up just the way that we want to see it. Now, this is one of our demo sites. So you've seen, you could go to lifterlms.com/try. You could go to lifterlms.com/try. And for $1, you get access to a fully populated, fully outfitted website. We host it for you for 30 days. So you can go in there, you can break it, you can blow it up, you can add plugins, you can do whatever you want to that website. It's yours, 30 days for $1. And it gives you a really good kind of insight as to like how would a learning management system work if I had 20 users in it? How would I use groups? How would the e-commerce portals work? Like, those are questions that are really hard to answer if you have a website with no users in it. But if you do a demo site and it's got users in it and it's kind of pre-formatted, you can kind of see like, okay, so if I were to build it, this is the potential of what I would build. But let's jump off of that and let's go take a look at what we're going to do here. Now, the question is it possible to have a pre-assessment and a post-assessment? I want to tell you it absolutely is. Let's go into the demo. I'm going to go to dashboard and I'm going to go to courses. And we're going to add a new course. And don't worry, I'm not going to spend another 45 minutes doing this. We're going to do this the quick and dirty way. We're just going to cover some things quickly, okay? So this is the course page. When we put something in here, and let me just grab that name real quick over here from comments, Medical Educator Consortium. Okay, so I'm going to call this medical educator. Okay, so this is the medical educator course. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to publish this course. It's a habit of mine. I like to get it published right away. I kind of like to hold that in the database, right? If I wanted to see what that was going to look like, I could click out here, I could preview it, and I could see it in another page. This is what it looks like. Medical educator, course information about the instructor. All of this stuff is editable, so we don't want to worry too much about that. We go back to the edit screen. In the course page, I can add any elements, take away any elements. Let's say I don't want to have this author's window right here. I can just go in, I can delete that, it's gone. Easy peasy, right? There's a lot of things that we can do. Any changes I make, you're going to see me. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit update. So that keeps everything kind of going, just like building a page in WordPress. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to go over here where it says launch the course builder. And this is where the magic is going to come to answer the question that we received. It comes pre-built with a pre-built section and 3 lessons. That's just there to make you feel comfortable. All right. We can change them. And we can add to it, subtract from it. We can delete it. We can do whatever we want. So if I want to trash one, I can click here. I can say trash, and it's okay. Off it goes. Right. So now I got the section, and I got 2 lessons. So the sections there's no content in the section. A section is just like a heading that creates a line of separation in the learning content. But let's do this way. Let's go here and let's call this introduction for that section. And then let's add a section and we'll call this the course, whatever the course is. Okay. So now I have 2 sections. I have the introduction, I have the course. So in the course, I'm going to have some lessons, right? So lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. And if we want to change the names of those, we just click on them and we go over here and we say lesson 1, right? And then let's say I want to do things more quickly. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make this one lesson 2. Look at me getting ahead of myself. And you'll notice each time I leave a window, you're going to see this thing turn orange and blue down here at the bottom right. So it's saving as we go. There is a way to have automatic saving, and there is a way to disable the automatic saving. In some hosts, having a different way to save things, like you want to leave it so that it's manually saved. So there's an option to turn off the manually saving in settings. There's an option to turn off the automatic saving in settings, because if this saves on a really slow host, if this saves while I'm working on other things, I might lose some of the work that I'm doing, right? So sometimes I want to turn off the automatic saving. So now we have introduction and the course. What are we going to put in the introduction? Well, for one, I'm probably going to have some kind of introduction video, right? So I'm going to say introduction video, and that might be where I'm talking about the course or things that people are going to be expected to do in the course. But this next one, I'm going to call the pre-assessment. Okay, so now I have, let me get there. So now I have the introduction video and the pre-assessment. When I want to add the video, I can click on settings and I can link a video right here. So if I'm on YouTube, Vimeo, or Wistia, I can just put that video link right here and it'll be a featured video. So on that page, it'll come up right up at the top. If I want to format that video into the page and have a little more control over it, maybe put some text and some heading content around it, then what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to edit the page in the WordPress editor. And if I click open this in a new tab and go to that tab, you're going to see that this opens up in a standard WordPress editing deal. So here's where it says introduction video. And let's say, pardon me, I want to do a YouTube video. Well, I'm just going to select YouTube. I'm going to put the link in, embed it, and it's going to be a done deal. I'm going to click update here. Again, just a good habit. Every time I go to get out of a page, I'm going to click update because I want to make sure that I don't lose work that I'm doing. Let's head on back to the course builder and we'll go back to that tab. So that takes care of the introduction video. Now the pre-assessment. In most cases, a pre-assessment isn't going to have a minimum passing grade. Okay, so that's something to remember. So in most cases, there's not going to be a minimum passing grade because you want everyone to pass the pre-assessment. Makes sense, right? You want everybody to pass the pre-assessment so they can get to the course, do the learning material, and then do the real assessment and then compare the learning differences, right? So let's go into pre-assessment. Now see where it says settings, add assignment, and add quiz. We're just going to add a quiz. And so we're going to say create a new quiz. And now at the bottom, we'll see that we have these different questions. If you have advanced quizzes, you're going to get all of the advanced questions down here at the bottom. If you have standard quizzing, you're just going to have the top 3, which quite honestly is great enough. If I go into multiple choice, I'm going to say, is Kurt a fast talker? Right? And we're going to say yes. And we're going to say no. Now, which answer is correct? Probably A. Okay. So if I want to change that, I just click on it and it changes. If I want to have another option, I'm going to click the plus button. And now I can add another option, right? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay. So now we have that question saved. Let's say we want to add another question. We're going to say true or false. And we're going to say, is this example hitting home? Oh boy, I sure hope it is. I'm going to leave true to be the answer. So we're going to save that change. All right. Now, I'm a little lost in doing an example right now. If you are still watching this live and you have any questions related to or not related to what we're doing right now, it doesn't matter. Any questions about LifterLMS, just go ahead and put them in the comments. And when I get back to the stream screen, I'll be able to address your comments and go from there. Okay. But now here's an interesting thing. Now we have the introduction video, we have the pre-assessment, and I'm just going to leave the 2 questions in there for now. Okay. We have our learning material. And then our next session, I'm probably going to call final test. And then I'm going to go into the final test. I'm going to add a lesson and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to call this the final. Okay. Are you tracking me? Are you guys with me on this? One of the things I want to make sure that I had done was I want to make sure that I published that quiz. So if we go to quiz, notice over here, it doesn't say published yet. I'm going to go here and I'm going to click publish. I'm also going to say 0 for the passing percentage. Everybody can pass. And then I'm going to say limited attempts, time limit, any of these can be filled in or changed. So now we've got our quiz or a pre-assessment in place. The post-assessment in most situations is going to be the same as the pre-assessment, because what we're trying to do is get a ruler, right? Get some kind of a screenshot or something of where somebody's at, teach them a bunch of stuff, and then see if they've risen in their capability, right? So the only way we're really going to know is if we benchmark the questions, if they're the same types of questions. That's how we'll see the difference. So here's a cool thing. When I go to add a quiz, I don't have to create a new quiz from scratch every single time. I can just add an existing quiz. And that existing quiz, did we call that the pre-assessment? I think we did. There we go, the pre-assessment quiz. So now that quiz is automatically copied directly into the final test. Once it's copied into the final test, it becomes its own instance of the quiz. So now I can go in here and I can say, you're going to need an 80 to pass this test. So now I can add a requirement. So I can leave the requirement 0 required for the pre-assessment, but I can have the passing percentage be 80% at the end. Okay, I am going to get out of that page and I'm going to make sure that this is saved, make sure that this is published, and I think we are good to go to take a look at our new course. You guys want to go see the new course? Let's go take a look. Ooh, here we go. Still sharing the right tab. Here we are, medical educator course. You'll notice that we got rid of that block of content about the instructor, right? So that's gone. We have a syllabus on the right-hand side. That's kind of a standard right sidebar setup. And then we would have a lot of content here. Hopefully in your course page, you're going to have like, welcome to our course, blah, 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 a couple of pictures, a couple of headers, down the screen. At the bottom of all that is going to be instruction video, right? So you would have put an introductory video into that. Next is going to be the pre-assessment. When someone goes to the pre-assessment, I want to make sure I'm on the right tab. There we go. There's going to be maybe some instructions or something that you put in here, and then it's going to say take the quiz. We open up and we take the pre-assessment. Hello. Is it thinking? There we go. So we've got remaining attempts unlimited, right? We got 2 questions. We're going to start the quiz. Is Kurt a fast talker? Yes. Is this example hitting home? I'm going to say false. Okay, complete the quiz. You're going to notice it's going to give me some feedback, right? It's going to say, I got the points for being a fast talker. I get the notifications that I passed a quiz. I completed a lesson. Is Kurt a fast talker? It's green. Is the example hitting home? It's red. And it's telling me what I got points for and what I didn't get points for. You can put answer clarifications into these. So if the answer clarification was going to be, what's the matter with you? Of course, this is hitting home. I would have written that in, and then that would have come up as a answer clarification. Okay. So I can look at previous attempts. I can redo it, or I can go to the next lesson. So I would go to the next lesson, and that's going to take me directly over to lesson 1 in my learning material. So my pre-assessment is done, and now I am going to go through my course material. Let's go back to the course page. When I get all the way down to the end, I'm going to take that final test. That final test is a reiteration of the original quiz. And now I'm going to go in and start the quiz. And I'm going to say, am I a fast talker? Yes. And is this example hitting home? I'm going to complete. And now I should see 2 green boxes instead of a green box and a red box. And it says I've completed the lesson. I've completed the lesson. I've passed the quiz. Now, that's kind of the roundabout on how I would start to set some of that up. The other side of the coin is, let's say someone finishes that final test. We could have it set up so that you go into, let me get there, not marketing, engagements. Here we go. We could add an engagement. And that engagement would say something like passed medical test. Okay. And I would say the triggering event would be student passes a quiz. Award the achievement would be some type of a certificate. And the engagement would be, oh, where are we? Certificate to select a quiz. I didn't publish that one yet. That's the problem. And then engagement delay. So what I'm showing you there, if we publish that, any student that successfully navigates that quiz would automatically get a certificate. Emily, how long have you been in the background? I've been in another screen.
Howdy. I just got here a second ago.
Oh, okay. I was doing kind of an example screen share of setting up a course that would have a pre-test and a post-test example. So I set up a pre-test with 0 score required and then duplicated that quiz as 80 required to pass. And that shows the example of a pre-test, a course, and a post-test. That was for Medical Educator Consortium.
Yeah.
Quite the name. So yeah, thanks for. I'm getting an echo from. I think I'm getting an echo from you.
Oh, okay. In addition to not filling her car with gas, my girlfriend also took my headphones, so I'll put these ones on.
Uh-oh. Well, now you're gonna look like a geek, a gamer geek.
Right? Let me see if I can take my output and put it in. Can you say something?
Hello there.
Okay. Should be no feedback.
Nice, perfect. So, as a follow-up, after the demonstration, Medical Educator Consortium says the results of the pre-assessment, I can show it to the user at the end when they finish the post-test. That is something, if you want to make it slick, you would want to do some development, just being honest. Because you can go through LifterLMS reporting. Reporting is a feature in the back end of the site, just like I showed you engagements was in the back end and stuff. You could go to reporting. Reporting is going to show quizzing, right? So the results of those quizzes. So it's going to say this is what they scored on pre-test. This is what they scored on the post-test. So you have that information. So you can determine how do you want to deliver that information. And in some cases, people will actually create like a forward-facing reporting portal that, certain user roles can get access to and stuff like that. That can be developed. It's not something that's considered out of the box. Do you have a different answer for that one?
No, I think, yeah, probably need custom development. You could also use something like, Gravity View, Gravity Quiz, to do like a pre-assessment. Is that kind of like what you're looking at for more smooth pre-assessment?
Yeah, I was trying to show them stuff like Lifter out of the box, pre-assessment, post-assessment. But to your point, if the pre-assessment wasn't going to be part of the reporting in LifterLMS, it could be like a Gravity form with a reply and feedback and all that.
Yeah, I think that, if you're not happy with the way Kurt showed it with like a 0-point quiz at the beginning of the course, I think that Gravity would probably be a good way to look at, like before custom development potentially.
Nice. All right. Well, it's good to have you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Our next one's going to come from Compass Rose Consulting. That's a familiar name to me for some reason. I can't remember who that is. Anyway, it says, "Hey, Kurt, I'm reorganizing my site to offer only membership with access to 20 courses, 20 course resource library. Was thinking tracks may help organize it into 4 themes. Does it help or not really?" There's so many different ways to talk about these kinds of things. And it almost seems self-serving that I would bring this up. But like I have a website that I have my courses separated into, and that is the actionleadershipteam.com. And of course, it added the WP admin on the back. It'll take forever to sign in on a screen share. Let me get to that course page here and I'll show you what I did. I basically just separated my course catalog into categories instead of using course tracks, because was the question really about separating the content to make it easier for people to identify or get with? Or was it, man, it's making me do all kinds of things here. I did get a new computer. I'm very happy with my new computer, but I have to keep signing into all kinds of things that, my laptop used to just do automatically. So if you separate the thing into, I think I'm just going to redo the, it's taking forever. All right. Let's do it this way. If you separate your course catalog into categories, you kind of don't have to worry about course tracks and all that other kind of stuff. So I was actually able to sign out of it and sign back into it. And let's go over here and share this tab instead, and then go back to StreamYard and share that screen. Man, you have no idea how thankful I am when you're doing stuff in the background, Emily. You have no idea. So we go here and we'll say start learning. Share this tab instead because it's bounced over to a fresh tab. And you're going to see that I set up my courses like I have a leadership category, a technology category, resources that are paired with the book that I wrote, and then personal development. And I have a lot of other courses in Mañana No Mas, but for this particular project, these were the courses that I wanted to put in here. So I just separated them by category in a course catalog, and that became a visual, kind of a visual discernment for my user. If you wanted to use course tracks, you could completely do that. And then there are engagements and stuff that you can engage with tracks. Like you could say, give someone a special certificate if they complete a course track, which, you know, obviously you couldn't do if you didn't create the tracks ahead of time. Can you think of any other benefits, Emily, with the course tracks idea?
Course tracks are good for like triggering engagements. If courses are not necessarily taken in a certain order. So, I mean, if you were to try to make that kind of setup, yeah, you could have multiple courses. I don't know. Course tracks are usually just for like certificate programs. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's like if you've got 20 courses, but if you take these 5, you get this certificate. That's
Mm-hmm.
what tracks are great for. And it does, like Emily just said, doesn't matter what order you take the courses in. So some people think when they make a course track that they're creating a linear form of training through multiple assets. And that's not necessarily what it does. You would have to use prerequisites to do that. You would have to say you have to take this course before this course, you have to take this course before this course. You know, you have to build that in. So I think if I read the question correctly, I think just separating by category and then separating your catalog by category would give you the visual separation that you're probably looking for your users.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, course tracks don't really have a visual part to it. So if you wanted that course track to include something visual, you'd have to do a course category too.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're still on, which is awesome. So perfect. We've got another question. Jane's here today. Say hi to Jane.
Hey, Jane.
Jane Saggers. And I want to say, I almost think we saw this in a Facebook post or something, because I thought we saw this last week. But it says we're attempting to use the Lifter Advanced Video plugin to force users to watch our Vimeo videos before advancing through the lessons. This works fine as a video in a lesson, but when we add a video as content within a quiz, the enforcement does not appear to work, and the user just simply move on to the next question. I don't know that advanced videos does work inside the quizzes. I thought it was just for the lessons.
Right. Just for lessons.
Yeah, I think you're going to be kind of stuck there. You have to understand the methodology that LifterLMS is built with, right? So there's the learning content, and then there's the practicum in e-learning terms, right? So proving that you've learned what we taught. So from a practicum perspective, it wouldn't be a teaching moment. From a practicum perspective, it would just be prove you can execute, get the grade, and move on. So the standard for the advanced videos plays within the lessons because that's the learning portion. You have to force them to take the content. But it wasn't the thought or the methodology in the quiz architecture, because quizzing wasn't the teaching moment, it was the practicum moment. So I think that's why you'll see that it reacts differently between what you see in a lesson and what you see in a quiz environment. Do you think I explained that well?
Yeah. Yeah. I think also like the quiz builder just doesn't support the embed for the advanced video.
Well, that's the easy way to say it.
That's the easy way. Yeah. It's like yeah, the featured video area specifically within a lesson is what supports that.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's other places where people have told me, "Oh, I thought I was going to use advanced videos for this. I thought it was going to do this or it was going to do that." There sometimes with a product there's a lot of assumptions that something's going to happen, and then conversely, on the other side of the coin, there are times where you assume it's not going to do something and then it does and you're surprised. So, yeah, really I don't know if this is the time to mention that because I don't know how apropos it is, but I'm a big fan of whenever I'm putting something into a new instance or a new environment or looking at the function of something, I usually have a staging environment that I play in. And then once I'm really familiar with it, I'll unveil it to the client in production. Um, I'm very slow to put things into people's production sites, especially if it's like the first time putting something somewhere, like making the assumption something will work or not work. I would imagine if you were building the site for a client, that might be an awkward moment to say, "Oh, my bad, that doesn't work there," but it just wasn't built to.
Yeah, yeah. But you can modify the LifterLMS user experience out of the box and have it work to have the lesson, have the video embedded in it that requires the advanced video's completion into a smooth transition into the quiz. But it just wouldn't be on a question by question basis. And also, there are tools like Presto Player, which give you more options if you're looking to, if that setup's really required for you. Presto Player is a good one to look into because you can have videos required for completion, and then that supports more video hosts and more places that you can add that video.
Presto Player's been interesting. I've been playing a lot with Presto Player on a few different projects lately, and there's a lot going on there. Presto Player, even though it's not so even though Bunny.net is not listed as a working host for advanced videos, if you use Bunny.net with Presto Player, you get the advanced video function with LifterLMS Advanced Videos, which is interesting. It's an interesting way to think about that.
Mm.
And of course, that's not in our documentation because we'd basically be saying it only works if you do this, this, and this, right? And so it's like Presto Player's workaround. So it's Presto Player's gig. But if you use Presto Player and Bunny.net, you get to save money on your video hosting and still get the benefit of advanced videos over some of the other premium ones.
Mm.
All right. I threw a question in from Barb.
And then if you were to have like a super big setup with Lifter where you're working with WP Fusion, a CRM and stuff like that, you can really track intricate user interactions, like how far did someone get in a video, and then reporting that back to the CRM, tailoring your message to them accordingly, and getting them back into your course in a really smooth way. I think I have that problem a lot where I'll lose track of where my students are in the course, where they're losing focus, where they're losing track, and I won't ever be able to diagnose it unless I have an individual conversation with them. And so the advanced videos metrics, and by extension, Presto Player, adding more support for that gives you just so much more insight.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Barb had a question for us before the call. How do I set up self-paced modules?
I do need to bring up the ceremonial music. Night driving.
I totally forgot about the music. Dive into the digital. No, we don't want to dive into the digital. You look so concerned.
I'm not hearing you. Is there an audio issue in my end?
There's music. I hear it. It's very low. It's very low. I'm going to bump it. There we go.
I can't hear you. I'm going to reload.
All right. Off she's gone. All right. So where do I want to go to next here? So Barb had asked, how do I set up self-paced video modules in a Lifter course? I'm going to kind of drive us back to where we were editing before, right? So if we go back to, and we could do this in this call without losing people, I think. If we go back to the course builder, I'm going to share this tab and we're going to go to add that. We're going to pick up back where we were with the medical educator demo that we were working on earlier. Okay. If we go into the course builder for this and we just take a look at like what is self-paced video, so if you're used to being like a professional e-learning developer, there's a tool called SCORM, and SCORM basically takes what we would consider multiple content lessons and bundles them into a package, a SCORM package. It all plays in one screen. Okay. One of the advantages to, I think, LifterLMS and using the course builder is when we get down to this section here that we created today called the course. We had lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. If it was just a video course, if it was just go to lesson 1, take that video, go to lesson 2, take that video, go to lesson 3, take that video, we would go to what we indicated earlier in the call. We would click on settings and we would use our featured video tool, if it was Vimeo, Wistia, or YouTube, and we would just put that link in. And so that would be there. If we wanted to mandate that they had to watch the whole video in order to get on to the next lesson, then you would want to use what we have as an advanced add-on called advanced videos, which we were just talking about not too long ago. So you would add lesson 1 and you would go add lesson 2 and you would add lesson 3. And then literally that's that self-paced course that you're looking for. On the front end of the website, if we click here, view course, it's going to be right here, right? We had introduction video, pre-assessment, and then we had the actual course. So they would click lesson 1, they would watch it, and at the bottom of that lesson, if you had that video in place, that featured video would be right here, and they're going to mark it complete, and then they're going to go to the next lesson. So the next lesson would go to lesson 2, and then the next lesson would be lesson 3. And so that's what that whole self-paced thing is all about. If you wanted to get a little bit fancy, and I'm going to go back to the builder again. So I'm going to click edit lesson, and I'm going to go back to the builder. Some people get a little tied up on that linear learning example, right? Making sure that everything is the same, meaning that every student takes lesson 1, then every student takes lesson 2, then every student takes lesson 3. So if you wanted to go into settings here, you could select prerequisite, and you could say you have to watch the introduction video and take the pre-assessment before you can access lesson 1. Okay. And then we could go into lesson 2 for settings, and we could say prerequisite, and we'd say you have to watch lesson 1 of the course before you could take lesson 2 of the course. Then we could go into the settings for 3, hit prerequisite again, and say that you need to take lesson 2. And what that does is it drives people to have to do the lessons in the order that you select. If that seems incredibly tedious to you, you could go to edit the course page. And if your settings were going to be the same for dripping for everything out, you could go down to, I believe it's in restrictions. It's been a while since I've done this, and enable prerequisites across the whole thing, right? And so you could do prerequisite course, you could do prerequisite course track, you can enable drips. So you could say, what's the drip method? So do you want to put pauses in between lessons? You have a lot of flexibility in how you can restrict how people take your courses. Shazam.
Yeah. Shazam.
Shazam. I don't know. I'm feeling a little slow today. I'm going to be honest with you. Compass has a question here. It says, if I delete an old course, is there an easy way to delete all of the associated materials for the course?
That's a good question. Because like lessons and items, I don't think get deleted when you delete a course. And so my recommendation to people on this is to delete the lessons first. So if I go to my demo site, I could share the screen and show you what I'm talking about. So here, courses. If I wanted to delete a course, the first thing I would do is go to lessons. So let's say the quick start course is what I want to delete. So I'll start with quick start course, filtering my lessons by course. So I'm only going to see the lessons in the quick start course. We have 19 items. I will move these all to trash. And then the quick start course will have no lessons, and then I can delete that course. And I'm not actually sure if that removes items like quizzes. That would be a good thing to test. So if I go to my builder, the quick start course looks very similar to this. So if I add an existing quiz, let's see if I have any sticking around. That might be a clone. So I should check if let me add a quiz and see if this works with test Emily quiz. So we're going to create a quiz. I'll delete this course and see if the quiz sticks around. I think when you delete the lesson, the quiz goes with it, but let's see. So I have saving strategy, which will be deleted. We'll go to courses, lessons, filter by saving strategy, filter. Should have 13 items, move to trash. Then courses, saving strategy, we'll throw it away. And then I'll jump to the builder and see if my test Emily quiz is still around. Add existing. Test Emily quiz is still here. It says it's part of the saving strategy course, but that course is gone. So yeah, I don't know why the quizzes don't necessarily go away. So that would probably be something just sitting in the database that we would have to remove manually. That's a little bit annoying, but yeah, I think it's just to protect people from accidentally deleting data, but there's not like a great way to intentionally delete that data.
Yeah, there we go. Makes sense for course materials like PDFs or documents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've faced similar things. I've gone through and deleted courses before, but left all the lessons behind. And then I go in and I look at lessons and I go, oh my goodness, where did this mess come from? Where it like double stacked a bunch of stuff. And so your advice on deleting the lessons first and then eliminating the overarching courses like the folder makes a lot more sense to me if you think about it like a file manager.
Yeah, but it looks like you would actually have to go in the database, remove the quizzes, and remove maybe like quiz attempts and stuff like that. There's probably some transient stuff in the database.
Yeah. We've only got a couple minutes left, and we've got a question here that came in from Karen. And I think this is like, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it. Like, I think this is like a dream world example of what we envision or dream groups would do. Like if we were on the Star Trek Enterprise, like when you say, give me a Coke, and a Coke comes out of that little machine, right? Just out of the ether. Groups is a great tool, and groups allows me to, so let's read the whole question, right? So it says groups 2.0. So those that don't understand, some folks call it groups 2.0, but it's like 1.1.0 or something. It allowed us to do e-commerce in groups. So we could sell groups of courses to organizations, and then those organizations are responsible for inviting their own users, and the reporting and stuff is done inside that group page that they get. It's a super cool tool, really cool tool. But she says here, I need to be able to charge one price for a bundle of courses and then distribute the courses for 26 departments and 117 users. So that's one thing. That is like a double tier of distribution that courses doesn't really do. You could bundle the courses together in a membership, and you could limit the seating to 117 users, right? Like you could totally do that. You could say, here's my group, here's my membership. My membership has all these courses in it, and it's for 117 users. And if it's 26 departments and they're like 26 department heads and they're not the users, you would add the 26 to the 117. You would make the 26 department leaders, you would make them your group leaders, and then they would invite, their portion of their 117 users. So you would have 117 plus 26. So you would have what, 23, 43. You'd have 143 users in your group, right? So that's the way that you would do that. You would say, here, when you sign up for this group of 143 people, everyone is going to be put in this membership, and this membership includes these courses. Okay. Then it says I also need to be able to limit the number of courses that I sell at the sale price. Right now, the only limiter is a date. I need to be able to set the limit on the sales volume and have it change back to the regular price. I'm not sure if I understand the question. The group sale for the 143 people is a group sale for 143 people. It's whatever that price is. So that's limited. Like, that's your limit. You have 143 seats. They buy it for $1 million, and they spend that $1 million. They get 143 seats, and you can have that as a separate access plan to like an a la carte person coming into the website and buying access to a course. That's like a completely different transaction. So you can do that. My fear, because if this is the same Karen that I think it is, my fear is your 26 departments are really 26 departments getting access to different courses within your swath of courses. So then what it really is 26 different groups all getting access to a portion of classes that you're offering under different memberships. So you kind of have this web, this web of complexity between the amount of courses, the actual people that are taking the actual specific courses. And I know that when we spoke before, you had concerns about giving every user access to every course. So if you want to limit access to all of the courses, those bundles would have to be smaller. So you'd have to have like membership bundle 1, membership bundle 2, membership bundle 3, membership bundle 4, and then you would have group bundle of users 1, group bundle of users 2, group bundle of users 3, if you wanted to use that tool. The only other way I really see around that would be to not use groups, would be to, get into the WooCommerce world, look at some of the add-ons for WooCommerce, and look at some of the, hundreds of tools in WooCommerce where you can really customize some purchase experiences. But you'd really have to do some research and play in that area. Well, I know we're in overtime right now, Emily, but do you have any comments on that?
No, I would do anything I could to simplify that business model.
Yeah, it's really, and again, I'm making an assumption that I know which Karen this is, but I remember in the office hours we would have extended conversations about this particular use case, and I think it's the same. I think it's the same person. So it was a pretty complicated use case with a lot of courses and a lot of people and a lot of segmentation in the audience. And when you get granular on those different elements, you increase the amount of complication in your setup, 5-fold, 10-fold, 20-fold. It just depends on how many degrees of separation you want to have with people, which drives me back to my standard message about, minimal viable product, get something launched, create some revenue, and then, tweak and advance as you move on based on the feedback from the users, not based on the feedback from what you anticipate users would want.
Yeah.
Different conversation altogether, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Compass has to go to another meeting. I need to get something to eat before the next call. Nathan, Natalie, I'm not sure what that is. Late to the show. Have you answered the Medical Educator Consortium's question about being able to compare? Yes, we did. So you can look at the replay either on YouTube or on Facebook. It'll be up on Facebook shortly. So that's there. Is there, here we go. Thays. So Thays was nice enough to send me a smiley face earlier in the show. So, hey there, I am migrating a site to WordPress and using LifterLMS. I have a quiz with users answers that I need to import. Is there an API I can use to add both the questions and the user's answers? That's going to take us into like some kind of WP all import situation, or is that more like a transfer honors WP question, Emily? What do you think?
You
Depends on
could
where
try.
it's coming from, right?
Right? Like if you're trying to upload quiz attempts from a different system, those would have to be like reformatted. If you're already working with the API, that makes sense. I just don't know if quizzes, I'm looking at the API. I don't know if quizzes are included here in lessons, update lessons. So I don't know. That's going to be some heavier custom development work. My recommendation is to get the transfer product, like Kurt said, Honors WP Transfer. Look at how they're importing things like quiz attempts and the quizzes themselves, and then just kind of use that code to mimic, whatever system you're coming from. You could use the code they've built to import into Lifter, and you just write the code to upload to their data layer. They have like a data layer, so if you go from Learn Dash to Lifter, Lifter to Learn Dash, it extracts all of the user progress, all the lessons and courses, quizzes, and it puts it in a data layer, and then it imports it into the appropriate LMS, and so you can access that data layer as a part of their product. It's a plugin.
Perfect. I know we're here in overtime. Emily, I want to thank you for hanging out for the last few minutes.
Yeah.
I want to drive people back to the idea of a coupon. If you are not yet in the LifterLMS family, but you've been watching these lives and Ask Me Anything shows, and you're like, I just got to get in on this and figure it out. You want to take a look at lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. You want to jump into lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. That is a 55% off coupon. And as you can see from the thank yous that are rolling in now, it was a good show. If you get a chance to watch the replay, go ahead and grab it. In the meantime, I'm going to grab something for lunch so we can do office hours in 53 minutes. You guys have a great one.